Hi chess friends, welcome to the tournament of the year, Candidates Tournament 22. Here we have 8 players that will play against each other, and the winner of this tournament will have the possibility to try to beat Magnus Carlsen and to win the World Championship. So today I want to show you a really complicated and beautiful game of round 1. Here we have Liren with white pieces, Nepomniachtchi with black pieces. Such a nice level. So let's go for the fun. Ding open with c4, e5 by Nepo, g3, and c6 to prepare d5. Knight f3, e4, typical opening, knight d4, and now d5 to control better the e4 pawn. Here we have simply c capture for d5, typical move, and queen capture for d5. Here you could play something like c for d5 to consolidate this center. But here white could simply play knight c3, bishop g3 with the idea to push d3 and to open up this diagonal. Okay, you have some idea this way to attack this diagonal with this move. So here Nepo decide to play this move, queen capture for d5. Here we have knight c2, then because the knight is attacked by the queen, and now knight f6. Knight c3 by Ding. When you can develop a piece attacking other piece, it's always a good move. So knight c3 is good. Queen e5 by Nepo, and now bishop g2 to prepare the castle. We have knight e6, and now castle by white. Bishop e7. Nepo made the same. He want to prepare a castle. And now knight e3. Here you could play something like d4 with the idea that black can capture this pawn to ruin this pawn because here the pawn is so strong. But knight e3 is a good move, however. And now castle by black. A3 with the idea to push b4 in the future and bring the bishop on the c2. And now rook e8 by Nepo. We have b4 like prevented, and now knight g4. A really nice move with the idea to bring the queen on h5 and to checkmate on h2. And if here you are thinking about something like, yes, I can capture with this knight, yeah, it's a good move, but after bishop capture for g4, we reach this position. White has 7 pawns, black has 7 pawns, but Nepo here has a lot of activity of his pieces with a pair of bishop really active, and this rook can be bring on d8. So it's not easy position to play against Nepo. Nepo could prepare this line, so it's obviously move knight for g4, but here Ding decide to not to take the knight in this way. So bishop b2 with the idea to attack on this diagonal, but here Nepo resolved with the plan queen h5. In this way, he avoid the fight on this diagonal, and he escaped from the attack of the bishop. And at the same time, with queen h5, he want to threat obviously queen h2 checkmate. You have to defend from the checkmate, so Ding push h4, and now bishop f6. Here Nepo decide to counter-attack the bishop on b2 and to fight on this diagonal. We have queen c2 to bring some pressure on the e4 pawn. Now this knight attacks the e4, the queen attacks the e4 pawn, and the bishop does the same. And now knight capture for e3 by Nepo. Here you have to capture. Ding decide to play d4 e3. Obviously you can't play something like this because you ruin all your pawn structure on the king side. Okay, so d4 e3, and now bishop e5 to defend this pawn. I know this pawn is defended by 2 black pieces, white is attacking with 3 pieces, but if you take this pawn, your knight here is risk to be pinned, and you lose a lot of things, because here black can capture, now you have to capture, and now your knight is over. So you can do this. You are attacking with 3 pieces, but you can capture really this pawn. So knight a4 by Ding, and now bishop capture for b2 and knight capture for b2. We have a trade of this bishop. Both pieces are so strong, so it's a good trade for both players. Knight c7. Nepo want to come back with the knight on b5 or d5, better, central square, really strong for the knight. And now knight c4, with the idea maybe in the future to play something like knight d6 with the several target on a b7 pawn, the rook on e8, and the bishop of f5. We have rook e6 by Nepo, really nice rook lift, really aggressive, with the idea to bring the rook on g6 or h6, and to attack on the g or h file, maybe in the future with the idea to play g7 g5. Okay, and now rook d1 by Ding. He want to use this open file, d file. Knight d5, like prevented. This knight here is so strong and controls a lot of square and close the d file for the white rook. So nice move. And now rook d4, nice place for the rook, perfect square. We have h6 with the idea to bring to push his pawn on g5. Here you could play something like g4 g5 suddenly in this way, but here, yes, it's a good move. Surely it's a move recommended by the agent, but Nepo decide to wait a move and play before h6. We have queen d2. In this position was better to play something like rook d1 to have some counter attack. And after this pushing here, there is an interesting line. It's a draw position after this capture and queen capture. Here white could continue with like knight knight a5 to attack this pawn, and here we have a continuation with a draw position because white has some counter attack. Okay, or here another line that suggested by the ended is rook capture for e5 d5, and after pawn capture for d5 you can capture with the rook. And now after you capture this pawn, you play knight d6 like Angel suggests, and you are attacking this bishop, so you have to play something like rook capture for d6. And after the rook capture for d6, we continue this position in this way. G capture for h capture for g3 and f capture for g3. With a draw position, this pawn is attacked, will be a target really soon, and here black has no way to attack white. But it's so complicated line, a completely new position, so it's really difficult to find the best move here. So after after rook d4 we have queen d2 by Ding, and now rook e8. Nepo double up on the e file and activates his last piece. We have king h2, and now bishop g4 by Nepo, with the idea to target the pawn and to have some attack. We have knight a5. Here engine could suggest a move like this. It's so interesting that the pushing b5 with the idea that here black can capture, because follow simply rook capture for d5, because you just allow the pawn capture to remove the defender of the knight. Okay, but here we have knight a5, and it's a really difficult position to defend by Ding. We have rook f6. Nepo decided to put pressure on f2 pawn, and now king g1 by ding to defend the pawn. We have finally g5 to open up the g5 square and to take obviously the h pawn. And now knight capture for b7 by ding, with the idea to bring the knight maybe on the c file and to have some counter attack. But here we have obviously g capture for h4. Nepo has a nice plan, really aggressive idea. Okay, we have knight c5 with the idea to bring the knight here and attack the e pawn, but simply h3. You have not to defend this pawn, you have a wonderful attack on the g and h file, so let's go for the attack. We have rook capture for the e4, pawn capture for g2, and now you are threatening checkmate, so here we have rook capture for e8, and now after king g7, because it is check, so you can play queen h1. After king here, we have a f4. If here you are thinking about a defense like this, it's a bad, because here black has a wonderful checkmate in 4, rook capture for f2. After king capture for f2, there is queen h2. Nice idea. Make to move the king to come with an attack on the queen on h2, and now after king f1 you have simply bishop g3, and now after queen come here, there is a checkmate. Queen g1, this is checkmate. So here you have to defend in the only way, and this is the move that you have to find, f4. So here we have queen h1 check, forced move, and after king f2 we have queen capture for a1, and now Nepo has gained a rook again, and here we have reached position where black is up a piece. And what an incredible game. So complicated line. He probably prepared until a specific point of the game. Nepo prepares this game, but I love his genius style, really aggressive style. So what a game. Here we have king capture for g2, but Nepo remain with the piece up, because we have this knight and this bishop against only a knight of difference. Okay, and now we have bishop h3. One of the most elegant way to close this game, to make an end of this game, because you have to capture. If you don't capture this bishop, follows simply move queen f1, and now how can you defend from queen g2? There is no possibility. And now you see, if you capture if you play something like king for h3 to capture the bishop, follows this beautiful checkmate. Here queen come here, queen h1 check, and now you have to come here, and now you have simply h3, h5, and after the king move here, nice queen h3 simply, and now you can defend. Here you can prolong the game with something like knight for e6 check, but after rook capture and queen d4 check, black can push, and completely bad move. Queen for f6, rook for f6. After this last check, black capture, and now you can't simply defend from the checkmate, okay, because queen g4 is coming. So what a beautiful game of the first round of candidate tournament, and really complicated but really wonderful with this attack, a completely new game with like a g5 idea. So what a player Nepo. He want to try again to obviously to have the possibility to fight against Carlsen another time. And we end this day with a wonderful victory by Nepo against the Liren. So thank you really much for watching my video. Remember to subscribe to my channel and follow me to see another video. And in this day I will show you a lot of game of candidates tournament. So support me, And I want to thank you really much because I like a lot doing these videos. So thank you really much for all your support, and see you soon with another video about the candidate tournament. Thank you really much, and bye bye.